welcome to Beacon English Podcast.
Okay, so let's dig into this. We have a really interesting set of materials today. What we're doing is a deep dive into something that, on the surface, looks incredibly simple. It's a guide for beginner English learners, and it's all about how to talk about jobs, how to handle yourself at work, and even how to get through a job interview.
That's right. And I think for a lot of you listening, you might hear that and think, okay, this is pretty basic stuff, remedial.
Yeah, exactly.
But the fascinating thing here, and this is why we're doing this, is that because it has to use the simplest language possible, it cuts through all the noise.
What kind of noise?
All the corporate jargon, the buzzwords, the things we assume everyone knows. It just gets right down to the absolute core functions of professional communication.
Right. So our angle for you isn't about vocabulary. It's about pulling out the strategic blueprint from all of this. We're trying to decode the essential structure of what makes professional interaction actually work. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you're a CEO or you're going for your very first job. These principles, defining your value, showing respect, taking responsibility, they are just universal.
We're looking for those strategic nuggets that are kind of hidden in this very simple framework.
I like to think of it as like a systems analysis for how people talk to each other at work. We're going to look at how these tiny things, these basic conversational bits.
Like just saying please.
Exactly. Like saying please or saying I will fix it.
Yeah.
We're going to see how those form the bedrock of trust and, performance in any team. It really boils down to how do you show your value, signal respect, and manage what other people expect from you.
Okay, so let's start where the guide starts. Phase 1, mapping the professional landscape. It kicks off by just identifying jobs, building this little taxonomy of a functioning society.
It does. And the list of jobs it uses it's very deliberate when you look at it.
What's on the list?
It gives us teacher, doctor, chef, driver, police officer, firefighter, then artist, singer, secretary, and manager.
Okay, that's a very curated list, isn't it? It's not random. It feels like it's covering all the essential pieces of a community. Why do you think it's this specific mix?
Well, I think it's building a complete social ecosystem. And the key is it doesn't just teach the name of the job, it teaches the function, what they actually do.
Okay.
So if you group them, you can see the logic. First, you have what I'd call the service and care roles.
Right, like the doctor and teacher. How does the guide actually define those?
Well, see, this is the interesting part. A doctor doesn't just work in a hospital. The guide says a doctor helps people who are sick.
The action, the contribution.
The contribution. A teacher helps people learn English. A chef cooks delicious food. It immediately frames professional value in terms of what you do for other people.
That is a profound distinction, actually, because that's where it stops being just a language lesson. It forces you, the learner, to think of your career not just as a title you hold, but as an output of value. It's the difference between saying, I'm a project manager, and saying, I help my team complete their projects on time. One is passive. The other is a clear statement of contribution.
Exactly. And if you learn that from day one, you are already thinking strategically. The next group that emerges is logistics and public safety.
So the driver and the police officer.
Right, the driver. They drive a bus, they take people to work, to school, they enable everything else to happen. And then you have the protectors, the police officer who keeps us safe, and the firefighter who the guide says is very brave.
So that's the infrastructure and the security that allows the rest of society to function. Without that, the doctors and teachers can't do their jobs safely.
You've got it. It's the foundation.
Yeah.
But then there's this other choice the guide makes, which I find really interesting. It includes the creative and entertainment roles.
The artist and the singer.
Yes. The artist paints beautiful pictures, and the singer sings songs. You might ask, why are those as essential as a doctor?
I was just about to ask that. In a purely functional model, you might leave those out.
But a complete society needs more than just logistics and safety, right? It needs culture. It needs expression. The guide is subtly saying that providing joy, providing beauty, that's also a valuable professional contribution.
That's a great point. It's a holistic view of what a job can be. And then finally, we get to the roles that organize the whole system.
The organizational and leadership roles. So you have the secretary who helps with phone calls and emails, and the guide specifically notes it's a very organized job.
Highlighting the key skill.
And then the manager, defined very simply as the boss, but critically, the one who helps the team.
Always coming back to that word, helps.
It's the through line for everything. So the big picture is that it's teaching you not just the job title, but how that job fits in and supports the whole team. And that focus on contribution, on helping, That's the key to communicating your own professional value no matter what you do.
Which is a perfect transition, actually, into how we interact within that team. Let's get into phase two, the foundation of workplace communication, the simple power of politeness.
Yes. And this is all about the small rituals that build trust on a bigger scale. It starts with the absolute basics, the morning and evening routine.
You come in, you say good morning. You leave, you say goodbye or have a good evening or see you tomorrow. Why are these tiny little phrases so strategically important?
Because they're about predictability and acknowledging continuity. Good morning isn't just a greeting. It signals, one, I am here and ready to work, and two, I see you and I acknowledge you as a colleague.
It reduces that, what do you call it? Social friction.
Social friction, exactly.
Yeah.
That little bit of negative energy when people feel invisible. And see you tomorrow is huge. It affirms the team unit is stable and will continue. It builds this tiny daily rhythm of trust.
It's the oil in the machine. It just makes everything run smoother.
And that leads right into what the guide calls the magic words, please and thank you. It actually describes please as magic because it makes everything sound nice.
I love that word magic. Let's talk about that. Why is it magic in a professional setting? What's happening psychologically?
Well, think about what happens when you don't use it. If you just say, send me that report, it's a command. You're treating your colleague like a tool, a resource.
Right.
But when you add please, can you send me that report, please? You are explicitly signaling respect for their time and their autonomy. You're turning a demand into a request.
Yeah, that transformation is everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It respects their ability to say no, which, funnily enough, makes them much more likely to say yes and help you quickly.
Absolutely. And then you have the other side of it. Thank you. Or thank you so much for big things. And of course, the reply, you're welcome.
That whole transaction, the request, the confirmation of receipt, the acknowledgement, it's like the smallest possible complete loop of respectful interaction. The guide says it's simple, but so good for the team, and it's dead on.
And it applies this logic immediately to asking for help. It gives a big warning. Do not just walk up and say, help me.
Because it's too abrupt. It puts all the pressure on the other person with no warning.
Exactly. So it provides this perfect three-part protocol. It's a little script. Excuse me, can you help me, please?
Okay, let's break that down because that little three-part structure is a blueprint for how to interrupt anyone professionally.
Okay, part one, excuse me, that is the signal of interruption. You're acknowledging they were doing something else, and you respect that.
So you're apologizing for the interruption before you even make the request. Smart.
Very. Part two, can you help me? It's clear, it's direct, you're stating your need without a lot of fluff, you're respecting their time by being efficient.
And then part three, the magic word again.
Please. Which, as we said, confirms respect and makes it a request, not a demand. That whole combination just smooths the way for you to get the help you need with the least amount of friction.
The lesson here is that if you skip any of those steps, you risk making the conversation about your tone or your manners instead of about the actual work.
You're just wasting energy on social cleanup instead of solving the problem. It's so inefficient.
Which brings us perfectly to phase three, navigating meetings and mistakes. Let's talk about meetings first, which the guide defines as simply when the team talks together about work.
And it gives a core rule, which seems obvious, but we all know it's often ignored.
Let me guess. Listen.
Listening is important. Listening to the boss, listening to the team. You have to listen before you can contribute effectively.
Of course. Otherwise, your contribution is just noise. So after you've listened, how does the guide suggest you speak up?
It gives you clear entry phrases like little scripts. Excuse me, I have a question, or I have an idea.
And here's something I found really key. The guide says about sharing ideas that the boss likes that. Why? Because it shows you are thinking about the job.
Yes, this is a massive strategic point. The reason you speak in a meeting isn't just to talk. It's to prove that you are an active, engaged member of the team.
You're not just a passenger.
Right. An idea, even if it's not the one they go with, proves that you're thinking proactively. It shows you're invested. It signals to your manager that you're not just there to do tasks, you're an asset who's thinking about the bigger picture.
It's a form of self-promotion that's based on actual contribution. I like that.
Now, let's look at the flip side of contribution. Handling mistakes. The guide starts with a simple truth. Everyone makes mistakes.
But it's all about the response.
It's all about the response. And the guide gives this perfect three-part script for professional recovery. It's something everyone should just memorize.
Okay, let's hear it.
First part, I'm sorry, it was my mistake. Second, and this is crucial, the follow-up, I will fix it.
Acknowledgement, ownership, and commitment to correction. That is the gold standard, isn't it?
It really is.
Let's break down the power of that. What happens if someone skips that first part? I'm sorry, what's the strategic cost of that?
The cost is trust. The I'm sorry addresses the emotional impact. If you skip it, the other person is left wondering if you even care about the trouble you've caused. Then, it was my mistake, is the ownership. It kills any ambiguity. It stops any kind of blame game before it can even start.
And then the most powerful part, the forward-looking part, I will fix it. That's what pivots the conversation from the past problem to the future solution.
It shows true professionalism, but let me challenge that for a second. Is there ever a time when a junior person saying, I will fix it, could sound a little arrogant, like they're going to act alone without permission?
That's a great question. If it's a huge company-wide mistake,
Yeah.
maybe just declaring that isn't the right move.
Right. So the spirit of I will fix it is always correct. You are taking ownership of the resolution. But the functional communication might need to be tweaked. It might be, I'm sorry, this was my mistake. I will take the lead on fixing it. Here is my plan. Can I get your approval?
So the commitment is the same, but you're bringing the team into the solution.
Exactly. But the key is you're not just saying sorry and waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You're proactive. The manager's thought immediately shifts from who's going to clean this up to, okay, this person is on it. That builds so much respect.
Okay, so from internal team stuff, let's move to the ultimate test. The job interview. This starts phase 4, the interview decoded.
And the guy gets it right. It says the interview can be scary, and that first question, tell me about yourself, is usually the big one. It's so open-ended, it's easy to just ramble.
Which is why the structure the guide provides is so brilliant. It forces you to be simple, clear, and positive. It's a masterclass in strategic brevity.
Okay, walk us through that 3-part answer.
Part 1 is just your identity. My name is name. That's it. Simple, clear.
No life story, just your name. Got it.
Part 2 is your current context. I am a student, or I work in a shop, or I am an English teacher. This immediately gives the interviewer a frame of reference for who you are right now.
Okay. And part 3? Part 3 is the secret sauce, the positive trait. I am a hard worker, or I am very organized, or I like to help people. This is where you immediately connect who you are with the kind of employee you'll be.
So let's see how that works. Imagine you're interviewing for that secretary job from earlier. You could say, my name's Jane. I currently work in a shop, and I am very organized.
Boom. In less than 10 seconds, you've given your name, your context, and you've highlighted the single most important skill for that job. You've given the interviewer exactly what they need to hear. It's the perfect elevator pitch.
And you're strategically choosing that positive trait, aren't you? If it's a doctor job, you say, I like to help people. If it's a manager job, I am a hard worker.
You're aligning yourself with the role from your very first sentence. The interviewer hears clarity, confidence, and relevance. It's an incredibly strong start.
So that strong start leads us right into phase 5, strategic interviewing. The next big question, why do you want this job?
The guide says the manager's goal here is pretty simple. They just want to know if you're really interested. They're testing your sincerity.
And the strategy is to connect what you like with the actual job or company. Show that it's a specific fit, not just any old job.
And the guide gives some great examples. If it's a big company, you could say, I want to work for a big company.
Yeah.
It shows you understand the scale and you're ambitious.
What about for a specific role, like the teacher?
Then you say, I like helping children learn. You're affirming the core function of the job. You're showing you find satisfaction in the work itself.
Or for a restaurant. I love food and I like talking to people.
Exactly. You're showing you'll enjoy both the product and the environment. You're proving you've actually thought about why this job specifically appeals to you. It shows honesty and alignment.
Okay, that makes sense. Then we get to question 3. What are your skills?
And the guide is careful to define skills, skills, as the things you can do well. It breaks them down into practical skills and more interpersonal ones.
The first practical skill it lists is, I can use a computer.
Which it rightly calls a very important skill today. I mean, that's just table stakes for most jobs now, isn't it?
Absolutely. Then it moves into language skills, like I can speak English and Spanish, which is obviously a huge asset in the global economy.
But then it gets really, really insightful. It moves into what I would call growth mindset skills. It suggests saying, I am a good listener, or, and this is the one it really praises, I learn quickly.
I learn quickly.
Yeah.
Why is that phrase so powerful?
Because it's a future-proof skill. The specific software today might be obsolete in 2 years. But the ability to learn the new software quickly, that's
It's
timeless.
a promise of adaptability.
It is. It tells the manager, as the guide says, that you are ready to learn new things for the job. You're acknowledging you might not know everything on day one, but you're signaling that you have the ability and the willingness to get up to speed fast.
It's basically saying, I might have a learning curve, but it will be a short one. I'm a good investment.
That's it, exactly. It's an incredibly strategic thing to say.
Okay, so we've covered the job definitions, politeness, mistakes, and the first big interview questions. Now for the final part, phase 6, the art of the exit, making a good last impression.
And it starts with two things that are easy to forget. First, smile. It says smiling is so important, it shows you're a happy and friendly person.
It's a nonverbal way to reinforce all those positive traits you just claimed.
Yeah.
It shows you're approachable, a team player.
And the second piece of advice is just be yourself. Don't try to be another person. Managers hire people, not actors. Authenticity builds trust from the very beginning.
Okay, and then comes the final, crucial moment. The interviewer asks, do you have any questions for us?
And the guide is crystal clear here. The biggest mistake you can make is to just say, no, I have no questions.
Right, because that just signals a complete lack of interest or curiosity.
Exactly. So the strategy is you must ask a question. It shows you're still engaged, you're thinking hard about the role, and it makes a very good impression.
And the guide offers two really smart, simple questions to ask. What's the first one?
What does a normal day in this job look like?
Oh, that's a great one.
It's brilliant. On one level, it helps you, the candidate, really understand what you're signing up for. But strategically, it signals to the interviewer that you're thinking practically. You're thinking about the day-to-day reality of the work, not just the fancy job title.
It shows foresight. Okay, what's the second suggested question?
Who will I work with on the team?
And that shows you care about the people, the collaboration. It reinforces that whole team player idea that the guide has been building from the start.
Precisely. You're showing that the social fit is just as important to you as the technical aspects of the job. It's a sophisticated move wrapped in simple language.
So if we pull all of this together, this whole guide, simple as it is, really is a strategic manual for professional interaction.
It absolutely is. We saw how it defines jobs by their function, what they contribute. The doctor helps, the manager helps. It's about active contribution.
We looked at the power of simple politeness, how that three-part request, excuse me, can you help me please, is really a tool for reducing friction.
Right. And we broke down that I'm sorry, it was my mistake, I will fix it sequence, the core of professional ownership.
And then the interview strategies, how to structure your answers for clarity, and how to use a powerful skill like I learned quickly to promise future value.
What this all confirms for me is that professional success at its core is built on three things: clarity, positivity, and explicit ownership. And the guide's final piece of advice really sums it all up. Learning a job and learning English is a process. Be patient.
Patience is everything, isn't it? Because every single one of these interactions is a chance to practice and get better.
And let me leave you with a final thought, linking back to that idea of responsibility. We know I will fix it is the standard after a mistake.
Right.
So what's the most responsible action you can take before you even start a new project?
Is it about all the planning and preparation?
Maybe. Or maybe it's asking that incredibly smart question from the interview. What does a normal day look like? Maybe true responsibility starts with gaining profound clarity before you begin.
I think that's a fantastic point. It shows how simple questions can have really deep strategic implications. So for all of you listening, we'd encourage you to think about which these job functions, the helping, the organizing, the leading, resonates most with you, and how you can use that clarity in your own career.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Until next time, keep thinking about the hidden power in the simple words you use every day.